Good evening, good afternoon, good day to you. Welcome in to another segment of Into Music with Ron. I am your host, Ron, the one man entertainer, and you guessed it, I'm your DJ as well. Okay, I just got a little carried away this holiday season. Just had a gig this past weekend. Got another gig coming up this weekend. You know, we gotta take them as we can get them, ladies and gentlemen. You know how we do it over here. Us solo artists, the one-man entertainers, the street performers. It's kind of cold for y'all in some places, so performing in the street, hopefully doing you right with them tips that you got. I hope your bucket gets overflowed with dollar bills and what you need to make it happen. We'd like to welcome you all in. I'm going to kind of wing it tonight because musicians, we always have a lot of stuff to talk about that we would like to talk about. And sometimes you want to make sure you staying relevant to what, you want to keep your audience kind of into what you're doing. I should be looking at this mic. Matter of fact, I'm going to switch screens. Bear with me, everybody. I'm going to switch screens so I can look at the right mic. Let me put it over here. Share that screen. How about that? Okay, we're going to share this screen. This is where I need to be. Before I get started, though, I got to take me a little sip of my sangria. You know I got to do that. Got to get another one of that. Anyway, back to the subject at hand. The subject I'm going to make up right now. Now, as solo artists, we can say we are like, we're more or less free agents. You know, we don't have other band members that we got to talk to. I don't know who this is. I'm going to answer this because it looks like a Maryland number. Let me see. Hello?
Hello?
Yes. No thanks. Anyway, let me get back. Let me start over again. I'm going to go. Let me turn my phone down because this. Anyway, like I said, musicians, solo musicians, we are like free agents. We don't have a band that we have to converse with our ideas and what we would want to do. We can more or less call our own shots. That's the good thing about being a solo musician. We only have to be responsible for ourselves, and hopefully most of the time we are very responsible and we make sure everybody do right by us. Sometimes things can get a little shaky, and I'll go into that in a few seconds. And what I mean by us being free agents, some of us do multiple things. So if you find yourself in a situation to where you get asked to play for a band to sit in, and that's cool, make that money. I mean, you can still be a solo artist, but just if you got, I mean, I used to do that. I play a solo gig, and then some guys will say, hey man, why don't you come and play this gig this weekend and make you $100? Okay, yeah, no problem. I can always use $2 or $3 more in my pocket. It's okay, so I'll go do the gig. Don't be hard work. But you end up sometimes doing, at least I would be playing keyboards, and then I would get asked to sing a song or two, and I would get asked to play some sax solos, because I played sax, and they played to backing tracks. The few guys I played with, they played to backing tracks, so it was cool. If the keys drop out or something, they wouldn't miss nothing because it'll be right there. So I like doing it, it helped keep my chops up. So my point is, if you play in multiple things, you're doing a little bit more than the guy that's just playing, I'm not going to say it because I don't want nobody to think I'm, but you might be doing a little bit more than the next guy, which is okay. if you want to do that and you getting the same money and you want to do it, it's cool. I mean, I've done it. I mean, I didn't ask for more money. Um, we all split the chips even. Everything was even. Everybody did what they did. But sometimes in a studio setting, like if you're doing a studio gig and you're playing on some record that's potentially going to be put out, you might want to ask for a bit more than scale. And scale can vary depending on the budget the of the gig. For the most part, you're not going to know what the budget is because you're just getting hired to play. So they can just say, okay, we're going to pay you this to come in and do this. And next thing you know, you're there for a few hours and you're only getting, you getting about there more than 5 hours and you're getting like $250. If you want to take that, that's cool. But if they say, okay, we need you to come back tonight, we got another song we want you to do, and they start doing this, you got to start knowing when to bump it up and when, to kind of cut back. I've done that. I being a free agent, for the most part, you don't have your own set of contracts and agreements that you say, okay, here, if you want me to do this, let's agree to this amount of money and you pay me this. You don't have a set fee. You can say whatever. You can charge what you want. And if somebody agreed to it, then that's what you go with. That's what I do most of the time. If somebody pay me what I want, I'm good with what they pay me for what I asked for. Sometimes I've been blessed and lucky that I get to the gig and I'll ask for this amount and they'll tack three. They'd go all the way to about, I got paid, I asked for 700 one time, I ended up getting paid 1,600 because I did a good job. I did the DJ thing, I played, performed, I didn't really take a break, and people was dancing, they enjoy, everybody loved, they got my cards, and sometimes you get a break like that. Then sometimes you might run into a situation where the person that hired you can be kind of a jerk. Quick story. I went over, the guy came to see me play. I mean, he didn't come to see me play, but he was at the club. Him and his wife I saw him all night. He was back in the back jamming. Him and his wife, they was sitting at the table, and I'd go back there and I'd sing. I'd go back up. I had a wireless mic and a wireless sax, so I had to go all over the place playing. And at the end of the night, they got my card. I ended up playing a party for them. I went over to the house. It was kind of in the fall. It was starting to get cold at night. And I set up, and I had the DJ thing going for a minute as people was coming in. And the guy did ask me, he said, you want to come inside? But it was down these steep steps going into the basement where they was at. And I'm like, no, I'll stay out here, because I thought people was going to come back out because he had the fire things, the heater things all over the place. But they didn't come back outside. It started raining. So I had to pack up and leave. But the guy ended up not even paying me one dime because I didn't play live. Because by the time people was in there eating, it started raining. I had to hurry and pack up. And I was kind of pissed off because I told him, I said, hey, I'm getting ready to go then if they're not going to come out here. Because by the time I get down here and set up and lug all this stuff down these steps, he said, okay, well, see, I told you should have came inside. No, you didn't tell me I should. You asked me, could I? Whatever. He ended up not even saying, well, here, I'll give you $60 just for your gas or just for a little of your time. He didn't do nothing. I got squared on that one. So a lot of times not a lot of times, but sometimes you might run into a situation where people you might feel totally wronged by somebody. But that's all right. Keep your head up. Keep going. They'll see you again somewhere, and which he did. He saw me jamming at the same club he saw me in, and I was still doing my thing, so I didn't miss a beat. Anyway, moving on. When you should have an agreement set up. Mine just really states a few things. It don't state for the amount of money I want, because a lot of people have different budgets, and you don't want to sell yourself short, but then you don't want to overprice yourself either. You want to get the gig because they got DJs that'll play the gig, and they'll pay the DJ for some reason. They'll pay the DJ what they want, but somebody who's entertaining, they be like, whatever. So that's what made me really get into DJing as well. So I can say, okay, I can DJ. You don't even need that, which I do pretty good as a DJ. I mean, I'm not a you know, full-fledged DJ, but you wouldn't know if you didn't know me. You'd be like, okay, he's mostly. I tell people I'm mostly a musician. Anyway, let's get into some of the legal things that you might run into far as not having an agreement or signing an agreement. Some people even ask me, they say, okay, do I owe you anything up front? I never take a retainer fee, which sometimes I should take a retainer fee, but I don't, because I like for people to pay me when I get there. I mean, it builds trust. And when I get there and do a good job, they'll see that, hey, man, this guy's. Then I do the rest of their parties. If they have another party somewhere or people that's there at that gig, they'll hire me just by seeing what I do. So being at gigs will get you other gigs. So you want to have an agreement in case if they want this. A lot of people ask me, do you have a contract I can sign? Because a lot of people see me at another gig and they wanted to make sure they got me for their date, and that means a lot to me. They'd be like, I just want to lock you in, but can you send me agreement that you're going to play this date and we're going to do this and I'm going to pay you? I'm like, no problem. I get the agreement to them via text or email, however I do it, and we sign it and go back and forth and we lock in the date and put it on the calendar. But have you an agreement ready. Some people don't need them, some people do. Make sure in your agreement you have certain things. Make sure you have adequate room to set up. It's been times I play and I set up, my setup is at least about 10 or 11 feet, going, horizontal, whatever. And I need a little bit of room. I don't like when my instruments is all bunched up and I can't, do nothing because the caterers and the people that set up the event got, we're gonna put a table with a cake and desserts right here, and then they end up giving you some little space that you got to set up in. Make sure that the event planner know and the person that hires you know that you need adequate room for your setup. And just remind them, you seen me at the gig, so you know how my setup look. I at least need that. And most people, they be like, okay, you got it, no problem. See if it's going to be a stage. See if you're going to have to go up an elevator, walk down long hallways. I've covered some of this in some of my other content because most solo musicians, if you like me, time is always against you. Even when I got time, I don't have time. Because sometimes people will spring something on you and they don't tell you that you got to do a whole lot to get to the room that you're going to play in. They don't. Sometimes like a gig I just played, you have to unload at the loading dock, take your car to the parking garage because they don't have parking for you. It was a hotel, so you got to park at a parking garage, then you got to walk back, then you got to take your equipment and lug it in and then set up, and the same thing at the end of the night. It's gruesome. Sometimes you can load in and they'll let you take the equipment at least to where you're going to play and set it outside till they're ready to open the doors and let you set up. Make sure you got plenty of time to set up. Get as early as you can if you need to. Me, myself, I always need at least 2 hours. I'd rather have 3.5 hours to set up if I can get it, and I tell them. But if not, I can take it. I gotta have at least 2. Trying to set up in an hour don't work for me, especially if I have to go park and do all these things, which most of the time I do. I have to just put my car as close to that as I can to the door, and don't let me have to go up a couple steps with things. Oh, I hate steps. But now they got ramps and things for for handicap and people that's rolling up. The guys who bring the beer and the refreshments. He's got a ramp to go up, so that's what you can use. Use and find out what your break time is. Me myself, I really don't take breaks. I take breaks during my DJ. I let the record spin while I might munch on something or sip on a little bit of something. I sip on something just to kind of stay perked up. Find out, if food is covered. If they're gonna give you something to eat, or if it's a restaurant you're playing in, do you get half off on your burger and fries or whatever you like? I'm not a big eater, so I don't be too concerned about eating anything, especially when I got to play my horns. And I hate blowing food in my horn. Even though you try to rinse your mouth out and whatever, it's still that stuff. Anyway, I'm not getting into all that. That's gross. Make sure you have the event planner and the person that's giving the party. Make sure you have their numbers, just so if something come up on the fly, they told me I can come in this side door, now they locked the door and I got to go all the way around the building, and whatever. It could be anything. You might get there and they'll tell you, we got a table over here for the DJ. They always call me a DJ, and I'll be like, no, that's okay, I'll get closer to the stage. But they don't say it. This is what they want you to set up. They just say it's a table. Because I don't need a table. I said, no, I don't need a table. Anyway, I'm not going to get too much into that. But let's get into some things that if somebody called you in for a studio session. I mean, if you're being hired to play as a studio session. Now, if you just recording with a few of your buddies and you're just drinking beer all night, or whatever, and just doing some tracks and whatever you're doing, you ain't got. I don't know if you're gonna be the charge or nothing like that. But if somebody bring you in on a real session because they like the way you played, they heard you at a gig, and they like what you do, and they want to try you out on a couple of songs they're doing, then you can charge some money. But find out what the terms of that, of your work. If you coming in and you're writing with somebody, and they want you to, hey, I need a guitar player to do something for me, and they don't know what they want, but they got you in there, or a keyboard player or a trumpet player, and they want you to come up with the ideas. I've been up against this before, and they'll take your ideas. You got to find out, you're not the artist that's singing, but you're there putting your creative ideas into the music. I mean, I've done that playing keyboard stuff, playing saxophone stuff, playing flute stuff, and people will hear what you play, and they might not like what you, now I ain't gonna say like what you're doing, but they might not need everything you're doing. If I'm playing a flute, they might be like, oh, right there, just play that part right there. And and you just, that little bit. And then the next day you come to the set and be like, oh, I see what you did, that's good, because they'll sample it and do some stuff and put it somewhere else. Same with some keyboard stuff or some synths, some lead synth stuff. I would play some lead synth stuff over some rap stuff, and they'd be like, okay, no, right there, because I'm real melodic. I can just keep going and just playing some stuff and just doing some stuff within the groove, and they'll like that and they'll take that. And stuff like that will get you a little bit of extra money if you coming up with that, almost like a hook. If it wasn't for that sound or that move that you're doing or the way you playing that, it wouldn't be a record. So that stuff, they didn't think of it. You came in there and did that. So it should be, they want my card. Keep you some business cards on you at all times. Keep your contact info current. And I'm going to close this out because I don't want to take up too much of your time. I just like to get on here and stay current. If this is your first time seeing me, thank you very much for watching as much as you did. Please give me a thumbs up. Give me some comments down there if you need to talk about some things or get a little bit more information over some stuff I said. I hope I said something that'll trigger some things in your brain to make you think about, oh, I can try this, try that, and do that. And subscribe to my channel. I need them subscriptions. So it's holiday season. It's December 22nd on a Tuesday. So that means Santa Claus, he'll be here, what's that, Thursday, 25th? Yeah, something like that. But anyway, hope you all have a nice holiday. And we shall see each other again. You all take care. Please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Like the channel. I'll talk to you soon.